Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ryu Sensei's 10-minute Japanese. I think last week I said 10 minutes English. Minasan konnichiwa. Dajahao. Annyeonghaseyo. Hola, amigos y amigas. Kamusta ka? Xin chao. And what other language there is. So, how is everybody today? So, here's a little test. 今日は、5月1日、午後の2時、12時、12時ちょうどです。はい。英語ではどう言うんですか？みんなチャットの方に言ってください。はい。聞こえるんですかね？ I have on YouTube some Okinawa music being played by the Nanes. And they're older, they probably don't play anymore, but they're a Okinawan group that played lots of music. Anyway, to get on to today's main theme, over the week I met tons of great people, very interested in speaking Japanese or other languages. Lots of people speak 2 or 3 or 4 languages. I'm amazed. Lots of young people, they speak, they're from Indonesia, they speak Indonesian and English and some Japanese and a little Chinese, etc., etc. And it's been really great. And I've met lots of people who are trying to study Japanese. And I think it's because a lot of them learn from anime or movies or dramas. One thing concerned me is the use of the word you and how we use that in Japanese. And that's what I'd like to talk about today is the word you, Anata. Okay. So if you're studying basic Japanese, then you know Anata means you. And we could say Anata wa genki desu ka? Anata wa doko no kuni desu ka? Where are you from? Anata wa nansai desu ka? How old are you? And when I meet some of these people, they use other words for Anata. Now, one thing I want to make clear here is um, I got a question here. I'll get to that in a second. Um, um, we don't need it. We don't say you all the time. If it's understood, we'll say nansai desu ka? So, konnichiwa, konnichiwa. Watashi wa Miyamoto desu. Yoroshiku. Those are the introductions. And then I say, dochi no kuni desu ka? Doko kara kimashita ka? Where are you from? Now, you notice I didn't say anata wa. I just said the question because it's understood I'm asking the listener. So that's it. I got a question real quick here about what's something that was harder than you thought learning Japanese. After I finish this, I'll get right to that question and thank you for asking. So let's see here. The next slide. If this is this going to work? Here we go. So one word is Kimi. This is a very common word to say you, but it's usually used for parents or teachers speaking to children. Sometimes, actually, I say this to my wife, and I don't know why. I picked it up somewhere, so I think it's right. She's never told me not to say that. So, but if you meet somebody at the same age, and especially someone older than you, never say Kimi. Just say Hanata. Or again, if it's understood, you don't need to say it. Okay. Now, I'll move on to what really kind of concerned me. I met several different people, and when they first met me, they said, "Oh, Anata wa Nihongo hanasemasu ka? Do you speak Japanese?" And they said, one guy said, "Oh, I misspelled it here. It's not Anata, it's Anta." And Anta is quite derogatory. It's speaking down to somebody, kind of in when you're a little irritated. Okay. So if you're angry at your kid and you say, "Oh, clean up your room," or "You're always so messy," I say, "Anta, ha 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 ha." And like if my wife is angry at me, she might call me Anta. So she's implying that she's a little irritated and she doesn't she wants to get that across to me. So it's kind of like you what's a word? Not too bad. You jerk. could sound like that. And especially the next one under that, oh my. Now, another time I came on, there was two young girls and they said, oh my, Nani Jin. Okay. The big no here. That's like, these are fighting words. Literally, the word my means in front of me. And a long time ago, people would say, oh my son. And uh, it was used, but now it's used like among young men, they'll say it to each other in a kind of jokingly way. Okay. Like you jerk or you dumbass or uh, what, what's, uh, what's going on? What are you doing? But if you say it to somebody you don't know or somebody who's not a good friend, it's like kind of picking a fight. Now, the last one is Tame. And Tame is, I looked that up recently, and it used to be actually a good expression, and it meant you and I. And but nowadays you'll hear it in anime and yakuza movies and stuff like that, and it's like, "Hey, mother, beep 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 beep," or "You beep 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 beep, I'm gonna kill you," and uh, that you don't want to ever use this word unless you want to get punched in the nose. Okay, so I got a lot of questions coming in here, and I got two, but I'm gonna do the second one first. It says also, what's something you would like to say to the younger generation learning Japanese? Some tips. Oh, okay. I'll go to the first one. What's something that was harder than you thought learning Japanese? Um, do you mean another language, or do you mean learning something else? If you mean another language, I would say everything. Japanese was the first language I studied. I didn't think about it. I just practiced at home every day and I got it right away. And I had Japanese friends to practice with. But after teaching English in Japan for about 30 years, I think Japanese is much, much harder or much, much easier than English because there's no verb changes. And, if a lot of people who speak English don't really know how intricate English is. They just speak it because they memorized it. But um, so what do I want to say here? For example, a very simple thing. He is, I am, you are. So you got is, am, are. In Japanese, you don't have any of those things. Okay. You just have watashi, anata, kare. So me, you, he, and then the same sentence structure. Nothing changes. So I think English was the easiest. Okay. So the next question, what's something you would like to say to the younger generation learning Japanese? Some tips. Because everything in life is practice. The word practice makes perfect. Now, when I say, oh, you got to practice, it's like, oh, you got to diet. Oh, God, I don't want to do that. But you can make it fun. And a few things I did was like just reading the same, like little small paragraph, a short little conversation 3 or 4 times and reading aloud. Everything is about muscle memory. You can understand the grammar, remember the words. If you hear them, you understand them, but your lips can't make it because you're producing sounds you're not used to. So the first time it's really hard. We'll try it again, and you'll find it's easier. And then one thing I did is kind of a plaything is I had this short conversation about have you ever, and it was nani nani shita koto ga arimasu ka? Have you ever done something? And he asked the guy, and the guy says, yes, I have. How about you? Have you ever? So I read that a few times, and I decided I wanted to say this perfectly. So I would read it 3 or 4 times until I could say it without making mistakes. Then I timed myself real slowly. And I just read it one piece at a time, and then check my time. And I said, okay, next time it was 1 minute. Next time I'm going to go for 30 seconds. And that took me 10, 20 times. And then the next time I said, okay, I'll do it in 15 seconds, which was a crazy speed. And it took me 50 times, but I just got kind of into it. It was like playing a video game. And I finally did it. Now, later, when I came to Japan, I still didn't speak Japanese great. I couldn't understand what people are saying. But one day somebody said, oh, have you ever blah, blah, blah? And I just got it right away and was able to say, yes, I have. So it was from memorizing that one little paragraph. Okay. So let's see here. Hello, I met you yesterday. I'm not going to say where, but thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And first steps on learning Japanese. Watch my video on pronunciation because you want to get those first vowels. You want to memorize the fact that it's a, e, u, a, o. And when you see English letters, depending on what country you're from, the A, you might read it A or A, but if it's an A, it's always a. Okay. Uh, Remember a few expressions so when you meet people and get a chance to speak, you can at least say, hello, my name is, and whatever. But take a basic sentence like it is a pen, and then change pen to book and so a few vocabulary, and then say it is a pen, it is a book, it is a chair, and memorize that, and then memorize the negative form, it isn't, and then the question form, is it a pen, is it a book, is it a chair, and the answer is yes, it is, no, it isn't. Do 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day, and you get tired of it, stop. The next day, go back and start from point one. And do that for about a week, and then keep adding some extra sentences on. And after a week or so, that very first part is too easy, like you can say it like a millionaire, then you can not do that anymore and start at step 2 the next day. Okay, so also, is katakana harder than hiragana, and which one do you recommend to do first? And is katakana really necessary to learn? Okay, so katakana and hiragana are just 2 different types of characters. There's no way to say one is easier, except katakana has more kind of straight lines, which might be considered easier. Hiragana you should learn first, because that's what children learn in Japan. And often they call it furigana, where they have, if you get beginners books or books for young children, they have the hiragana above the kanji, so you can read the kanji. So if you can't read the hiragana, then you can't read the kanji. So first learn hiragana and practice writing words in hiragana. And at the same time, if you remember some kanji, you can write those in kanji too. And a lot of times when kids practice kanji, they also write the kanji and then they write the hiragana next to it to make sure they know what the kanji is. Some kanji tests have that. They'll have the kanji and you have to write the how to read it. And usually you'll have a combination. Let's see here. Let me add a caption here to show you. So for example, and I am going to hold on a second, please, here. And I think we don't need this anymore. So at the bottom here, it says tabemasu, and the first one is kanji, and then bemasu is in hiragana. So you might have kids in Japan will have a sentence like this, and the teacher wants to check they know which part is kanji, and the kids above it or next to it will write the hiragana ta. So you know that for tabemasu, you write the kanji to eat, and then bemasu. Tabe is not the kanji. It's the kanji is just ta, and then bemasu. And I'm probably getting a little too complicated here. But yes, hiragana, to answer your question, hiragana. Katakana really is necessary because often it's written, and most foreign words that come into Japan use katakana. So you have a sentence like, for example, the word piman is green pepper, but it's really from, I think, Portugal or France, pimento. And then that word was introduced into Japan, and they say piman. So if you use this sentence here, piman o tabemasu, piman will be in katakana. You'll find it in many sentences and lots of advertisements because Japan uses so much foreign words we call gailaigo. And I also have a video on the YouTube channel about that if you like, watch it. Okay. Do you recommend moving to Japan? I guess it depends where you're coming from and what do you want to do here. But to be honest, every 5 or 6 years I got homesick and I went back to America. And I guess it depends what country you're coming from, because if you live in a place that's not very good and not very safe, Japan might be better. If you live and work here, you can get national health insurance. It's expensive, but you're pretty much taken care of. Japan's in right now, a really heavy deflation. So the pay isn't very high, but costs aren't very high. I'm from Seattle. When I came here, everything was 5 times the cost of Seattle. Now it's about the same. In fact, the last time I checked in America, an apartment's more expensive than Japan. People are nice, but as a foreigner, if you have an Asian face, you won't stand out so much. They might assume you're Japanese until you speak. But when they see me, they kind of freak out and get nervous, but they're not mean about it. They don't say, oh, gaijin, go home. Uh, Usually. I've had that once or twice. But yeah, I think it's a great place to live. It's safe. The only thing is earthquakes. And just yesterday, we had a little jolt about like this. And that's a little unnerving. And I've been here 33 years. I was here during the Great Hanshin earthquake. And by the graces of God, I lived through it. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people close. Nobody I know died, but in my general area, some hills came down and homes were buried. Earthquakes happen all the time, and typhoons are a pain in the butt too. So there's your answer. Did you go to college in Japan? If you did, what would you say about it? No, I did not. I went to college in America, but I know lots of people who went to college in Japan, and I've heard good reports and bad reports. Um, Again, the thing is, being a foreigner in Japan, you are kind of not ostracized, but you're different. It's like, oh, look at the foreigner. Now, when people get to really know you, they don't treat me like that. I've been here a long time, so most people call me Ryu-san or Miyamoto-san. Even my doctors, my bankers know my real name because I have to use it for registrations and stuff. But everybody calls me Miyamoto, and my friends call me Ryu-san, Ryu-chan, or another reading for the kanji Ryu Tatsu. Some people call me Tat-chan. And all my students call me Ryu Sensei. So that's that there. So I hope you enjoyed it. Now I'm going to put actually in the description of this video. Here, how do I do this? Are some links, but I'm going to put them in here. And I wonder if we can see that. So I don't know if you can pick these up. Oh, no, I put it in the wrong thing. Or no, I didn't. There it is. So this is in the chat. Links to the website, links to Instagram. I've been meeting a lot of people say, oh, do you got Instagram? And in the future, I'm going to, yesterday, actually, I did a quick Instagram live of my garden to throw in some Japanese vocabulary. And I thought for people who want to learn Japanese and learn about life in Japan, I was going to do segments of different places around my house, like my car, and it speaks Japanese. And our rice cooker, which is, if you're from an Asian country, that's not so strange. But I can show it and show the different words and how to use it. And so, because that's something we do on a daily basis, like brushing your teeth. Okay, another question is Ryu your English name? Well, no, because Ryu is Japanese. I have an English name. Nobody knows it. Only my mother and the government. I tell nobody. So is it really strict in Japan? I'm not sure what you mean. Strict about what? You can't kill people. You're not supposed to. If you mean like rules and following the rules, yeah, like any other country, they have laws. And I think more than there's set ways to do things. And if you do it different, people go like this. Arinai. Like I used to put, what was it? Mayonnaise on French fries or something. Or tartar sauce. I like tartar sauce with French fries. And some people say, ooh, that's gross. Other people say, yeah, I like it too. But in Japan, everybody was like, eh. So those type of custom things, doing something different than what the herd does, people kind of look at you sideways. So I know in the U.S., when we introduce ourselves, we shake hands. What is the equivalent in Japanese culture? Tried shaking someone's hand and they looked at me like I was crazy. Yes, because you bow, right? And to be honest, I've seen these, like, there's manuals on how to bow in which situation. There's the 20-degree bow, the 45 90-degree bow, 45-degree bow. And then there's get on your knees and put your head on the floor, depending on how much you screwed up. But usually people say, domo, and they'll just do like a 10, 20-degree bow like this. So I say, hajimemashite, domo, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And even when I'm in the car and I'm driving and somebody wants to pass and I stop and I say, yeah, go ahead, they bow. And some older women will do it like 3 or 4 times. And they won't drive by. They keep bowing at me. And I'm like, just go ahead, go, get out of the way. So no shaking hands, no hugging, no kissing. You might get slapped. So anyway, how's that? They did look at you like you're crazy. But some businessmen, like if you're a foreign businessman and you meet a Japanese person and they might shake your hand because that they know it's our culture. And if they reach their hand out to shake hands, you can. So what is a good way to introduce yourself in Japanese? Again, on the website or on the YouTube channel, there's introductions in Japanese, formal and informal. So informal would be you just meet somebody at a party or somebody introduces somebody to you. But the bottom line is you'd say, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. So you say my name. And often we don't say watashi no namae Miyamoto desu. We say Miyamoto to moshimasu. And then they might say, or I just say Miyamoto desu. And watashi wa, you don't need all that. They'll say the same thing. Tanaka desu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. So I have a children's English school. The mother usually brings them. And one day the father brings him, and I say, Oto-san desu ka? Hajimete aimasu ne. It's the first time we meet. Miyamoto desu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And he'll just say, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. So, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And again, I think there's like 2 different videos. They're about 5 to 10 minutes. So please watch them and practice those. And every time you meet somebody, business, it might be a bit more, what's the word I want? Formal. And then if you're like meeting the president of a company or the emperor of Japan, I wouldn't even know how to do that correctly. There's words that you might need to know. So, okay. So are there any more questions? Today was great. I had more than one viewer and I got a bunch of questions. I'm really happy. Okay, so again, thank you so much. Thank you for coming to Ryu Sensei's 10-minute Japanese. I forgot what I want to say. I probably will be doing one next week as well. If you like, leave in the comment section what you would like me to talk about or introduce. I'll do a short theme lesson on that subject. And if you have questions before, put those in the comment section. And so I could prepare for them, and like this cool little slide I had on Anata. And 皆さん今日本当にありがとうございました。じゃあまた来週ね。よろしくお願いします。Oh, I got another question. Also, how do you find your name in Japanese? Well, there's one guy told me he found a site that's changed your name to Katakana. And it's kind of tricky because I see names in Katakana like Mike would be Maiku, or it could be a little variation of that. But there's a homepage, I think, search change your name to Katakana. You type it in English, it gives you a Katakana version. My Japanese name has nothing to do with English. Miyamoto is my wife's name, family name, and I took that. And then Ryu, I was born near the dragon. So, okay, again, thank you very much. Mina sayonara.